Hey everybody, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel. This is the weekly angel card reading video for the week beginning March the 11th to the 17th, 2019. I'm recording this at the time a thunder and lightning storm has passed over, possibly not one of my better life choices. So you may see a little special lighting effects from the universe. Right on cue, some thunder. You guys probably didn't even hear that actually, but you might see the lightning. Don't be alarmed. Everything will be okay. So let's start with the cards. Oh, Monday, that was a terrible start. I'm actually going to go with, I feel like some Archangel Michael for Monday, the 11th, my favourite number. Let's see what's going to pop up. Honour and trust your feelings. So sometimes this card comes up for people who kind of already know what they need to know but are maybe doubting it, which is totally normal. So basically we're often in this conflict between our intuition and our brain. The brain is an extension of the ego, and that wants to keep you safe. It doesn't want you to go making any risks, and that means no changes. But the way your life is right now is very safe because you know how things are going to go, or your brain does. There's nothing to worry about. There's no space for the unexpected, or very little space, excuse me, for the unexpected. But there's a good chance your intuition is pushing you to try something new or to make changes in some way, and this is what you need to obey. Your intuition, even though, yeah, sometimes people will say to me when they book a reading, I just don't know what to do. And I'll say things like, what does your intuition say? And they'll say, I don't know, or, well, it's telling me both. And the reason is because that voice of the logical voice, I guess, is so strong that you can no longer tell what you actually want. I think I've said this before, but sometimes if you flip a coin, you'll be able to tell what you want because before it lands, you'll know which way you want it to go. It's kind of one of the ways you can separate that mental chatter, from what is actually what you want, because you can say, oh, I really want that job. And then your brain goes, you get more money at this other one, or yeah, but there's no promotional opportunities at that one. You've got to look at the big picture. Those are logical sort of considerations. And I'm not saying you should disregard them, but I am saying your intuition is always going to be your best barometer. So if you feel like you can't make a decision, it's your intuition you go to. And it's still going to feel a little bit risky because you will be able to see that the other side of things might also look alluring. But, how many times have you made a choice based on logic and then gone, oh, I knew that was not going to work later on? Hindsight's a wonderful thing. Now, this card came up for me personally a while ago when I was considering a work opportunity and I didn't know how to kind of proceed. And the card was telling me, you basically already know you don't want to do it. So there you go. Maybe that's why I reached for that example. The reason I was struggling was because it did look really good on paper, but this card reminded me, you actually don't really want to do this. It's not something you're passionate about, so say no. So I did. Not always that easy. Now, if you're not facing a decision of any sort at the moment, it could be this is coming up to remind you. If you're dealing with maybe a relationship conflict or something like that, this will sort of be telling you you've got a right to feel the way you feel, and you need to listen to those because those feelings are telling you something. They're telling you you need to make changes, or they're telling you that you're not being treated fairly, or I don't know, whatever it is. So listen to those feelings. They're giving you all the information that you need. Not always easy in a world like ours where we're taught that to get away from feelings, they're too risky. If you don't want to be too emotional. Yeah. Brene Brown's done a lot of wonderful work in helping educate the world about vulnerability. Tuesday, cleanse and detoxify. So there are a whole lot of different levels this could apply to. It could apply to, on a physical level, your physical health. Maybe your diet is full of processed foods. Maybe it's just completely out of balance. Maybe you aren't drinking enough water. And if you take that up a level to the emotional level, maybe you're surrounded by too many toxic kind of energies in terms of the people you're spending time with. Maybe you need to do a bit of a friendship Marie Kondo action and if it's too hard to break up with friends, at least limit the time with the ones who are really just weighing you down and you've outgrown. Could be also chemicals, too many chemicals in your house. Could be, what other sort of things are toxic? Could be your own, on your mental health level. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups. It could be about the messages that your brain is sending you that you need to do a bit of a detox there and kind of get your, circumvent those patterns of saying you're not good enough, you're going to fail, you always screw everything up, that sort of thing. Get rid of those because they're not helping you. Now, another card to jump out from that deck, and I'm not going to post it online. I think the card is What Do You Desire? And I think it's come up to back up that message I just said before about the honor and trust your feelings for Monday, because I went a little bit off track there. So surprising. And I feel like this card has just popped up to affirm that I was on the right track there with you needing to really listen to your desires. Your feelings are telling you where you've got off track with those. Oh, the light just sort of got really randomly bright. Let's go on to Wednesday now, the 13th of March. Green Tara, start delegating. In a way, I feel like this is sort of connected to that cleanse and detoxify, because some of the reasons you might have undue pressure in your life is because you're not willing to let go. Yeah, that's one way I can put it. So sometimes people's unwillingness to get other people to help them is connected to perfectionism. Sometimes it's connected to a victim mentality, an attachment to suffering. Sometimes people just want to be the aggrieved party who's always put upon. Sometimes other reasons can be can be about control, and it can also just be, I've talked about how love needs to flow in both directions in terms of we need to give and we need to receive. Sometimes there could be a block against the receiving part. We're not willing to let people help us or support us because we feel like we have to be the strong one and we have to do it all ourselves, and to ask for help is a weakness, or to, tell people that you're struggling is a weakness. And that's really, really quite destructive for your health, physical health, mental health, emotional health, etc. So, yeah, start delegating. Get a cleaner for your house if you're just struggling to feel like you can keep on top of that. And obviously, if you have the money to do so, ask your angels to help you. If you don't, maybe you need to attract a bit more money to do that, or maybe there's some other way you can get get some help there. Yeah, delegating. It might be at your job. Maybe you're trying to do too much and failing. If you are convinced that you need to do everything yourself, you're probably not going to have enough attention or energy to do any of those tasks well, and it might be better off passing them on to one of your staff or colleagues. And also ask the angels to help you. Obviously, they can't physically pick up a dustpan, but they can find solutions for you, and we often forget to ask them. So, and the help can turn up as well. I really need to emphasize this apparently. The help can turn up in ways that you do not expect. For example, if you ask for money and you're waiting for a sudden random windfall into your bank account and that doesn't show up, you're probably going to be disappointed, but you might not realize that the friend who's offering to come around and babysit your kids, that's the way the universe is helping you so that you can save some money on daycare or something. I don't know, that's probably not a very good example, but I'm just saying abundance in particular can show up in non-monetary forms, and help can show up in ways that you don't necessarily expect. So if you are blocking off any help from other people, you're also blocking off solutions from the universe, because the universe works through other people. Don't forget that. Now Thursday we're up to, and oh my goodness, we're almost up to 10 minutes. I need to hustle here. Taking too long. Oh, nice. I like this card. Faith. This is a Denise Lynn card deck. And they're just very simple kind of messages, but very impactful as well. And the message on it is, my life is divinely guided, and you can see someone leaping for a swing. Now, it doesn't have to be a dramatic leap of faith that this card refers to. It could be just a small change in your life that you're resisting doing. not to repeat myself, but because you are scared of change, or because it's unknown and that puts you in that whole uncertainty and you're used to being in control, or maybe there's no guarantees, aren't many guarantees in our lives, unfortunately, and that's provoking you a little. So whatever the situation is you're facing, this is asking you to have some faith in the things that you cannot see. And that's what faith is. If you knew it was going to work out, it wouldn't be an act of faith, because you've got a guarantee. Faith is about believing in things that we cannot see. And I also use this quote a lot, that faith is about taking the first step, even though you can't see the whole staircase. I get a lot of people asking me to tell them how things are going to work out, and I can't do that. We're not supposed to know how things end. We're not supposed to have the whole journey illuminated for us. We just need to know where to move next, and things will unfold for us in time. But you need to be willing to trust the universe and to take those steps. Let's move on to Friday. So it feels like already we've kind of got this theme of letting go emerging. Law of attraction. So this is a card that, you know how I've mentioned that I often don't read the bottom. This is one of those cards where the title and the energy around it for me are totally not in alignment with the words on here, but I will read them in case they resonate for you, because for some reason they are being highlighted. Relationships and activities that you once enjoyed are now changing as you become more sensitive and aware of energies. So you can see how that matches up with this Tuesday card about cleansing and detoxifying. Once you're on the spiritual path, and the degree to which you do that is up to you. Don't have to go full on joining an ashram. But if you're watching this video and you have been for a while and reading lots of things online and following other people, you are opening up spiritually, and that means you're going to start moving away from people who are no longer right for you, and it's going to be really difficult for you to ignore the call to do that. I remember when I started on the spiritual path, I went to a workshop where they were very much like, you need to give up coffee. Everyone needs to give up coffee. It messes with your energy. And I was like, no, I don't think so. I'm not going without coffee. Anyway, moral of no surprises to know there. I'm now caffeine free. And I would never tell anyone to give up coffee unless a specific card comes up in their personal reading. It tells them that, and there is actually a card that says caffeine free, and I hate having to tell people that message. It doesn't come up very often. I'm not going to tell you to do that because I don't think everybody needs to, but for me personally, it was interfering with my energy and my body was not having it anymore. And so I knew when I was getting that message I had to do it. Someone's telling me at a workshop, didn't want to hear it because it was delivered in a bit of a sanctimonious way. But over time I realised I actually do need to do that. So it happened in my own time. But what I'm trying to tell you is, once you're on a path, you have to start giving up things. Or, if it's not caffeine, spending time with people that annoy you. I can't go to nightclubs anymore. The energy in there is just so... It's just too mucky for me. I can't deal with the people who are so in such a state of trying to escape from their lives. It's really unsettling. But that's just me. I'm not saying anyone else has to go doing that. But returning to the theme of this card, Law of Attraction, I know I talk about the Law of Attraction all the time. There's a lot of information about it online. I don't want to delve in too deep, but I will say it's simply about like equals like. One magnet, two magnet, they will attract each other if they are the same. If you want to attract a relationship with someone who loves you, you don't love yourself, those magnets are not going to match up. So what you need to be doing is working on your end of the bargain so you can attract something that reflects what you are. You want to attract a partner with a great sense of humour, learn how to make yourself laugh and to have a humorous disposition, if I can put it like that. That's a very, very simplified kind of example there, but I feel like I've talked too much about work examples, so I thought I'd bring it back to a relationship one. If you keep attracting, if you're trying to hire, we'll go back to the work one, if you're trying to hire someone and you keep attracting staff who are just really not interested in doing a very good job, are you actually that interested in being there? Because if you're not, it's going to be really difficult for you to attract people who are really committed. It's the energy around you as well. So go back The law of attraction is about your goals. Make sure your goals are in alignment with what you're actually putting out. If they're not, you need to do some work on the energy around you and what you're actually, what you're actually putting out to the universe. Not just in terms of this is what I want, but in terms of what am I embodying. There are so many people who can put that so much better than me. Esther and Jerry Hicks, for one. What are some other really great examples of law of attraction people? There are so many. Some people swear by The Secret. I'm personally not a fan. I find it too gimmicky, but I know a lot of people have found it really helpful. So, Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life even. I don't think she calls it the law of attraction, but that's basically the stuff that what she's talking about is really what's in there. There's someone who's really strong on this stuff and puts it really well, and I've forgotten his name, but when I remember, I will put it on my Instagram. Saturday's card is freedom. I talked before about people who might be attached to suffering, and that's one example of how we can be our own prisoners. We can be our own jailers. We keep ourselves stuck inadvertently. So this card comes up to ask people to set themselves free, or to set themselves free, basically. And that can be setting yourself free from the messages in your brain, to go back to that. Free yourself from those really damaging messages you keep sending yourself about no one's going to want to be in a relationship with you, all that sort of stuff. Setting yourself free from the restrictions you're putting on your life, like I could never get a job like that, or just anything like that where you're holding yourself, where you're getting in your own way. Really look at that. And it could be not just about you, it could be about other factors that are keeping you trapped. But remember, you might have attracted those for a reason, because maybe you're resisting the change on some level. Now, I do want to mention with that card as well, I'm not saying every single situation you've attracted. Some people say that, but I personally think there are some really crappy things that happen to us that we just don't attract. I mean, look at chronic illness. I think it's quite unhelpful when people talk about situations like that and say you might have attracted it. I don't think that's very fair at all. So I don't want to say that you attract everything that happens to you, but I'm saying sometimes, and bereavement is another example of that. Sometimes these things happen and we don't know why, and we will go crazy if we torture ourselves by trying to figure out why. All we can do is play the hand we've been dealt. And on that note, here's the card I've dealt for Sunday, career transition. How interesting that I came into this giving so many examples of the workplace, and now this very specific card around work has come up from a very general deck. It's not the career deck at all. So the card talks about life purpose, but I want to take it more broadly, because life purpose and career are not necessarily the same thing. I have a part-time job where I do work that's not in alignment with my life purpose. It's not totally dissimilar. There are elements of it, but certainly what I'm doing right now, this is my life purpose. Bringing through messages from the divine and making them tangible to everyday people. That is my life purpose. One of. There are many, of course. So it could be saying that you are going through a transition in your life purpose. Maybe you're just waking up to what that is. Maybe you're stepping more fully into it. Or it could be career. And it could be simply that another job opportunity is coming up for you. You might think you're not good enough. You might think it's not right for you. Don't dismiss anything out of hand. So really open up to transition. Even if you do decide not to go with that, it might be that it's going to start those cogs turning in your head, and you'll be open up to similar kind of opportunities in the future. Sometimes they just do send us opportunities to get us to sit up and pay attention. They'll say, hey, there are more things out there for you, and you should be pushing yourself a bit harder. We're not really here to be comfortable at all. We don't learn anything when we stay comfortable for too long. What else can I tell you about this? Oh, this might not be immediate as well. They're saying for a lot of you it's not going to be immediate. So just file that one away for later. It might be saying several months for some of you this transition is going to come through. But just be open. Just be open to it. And as I say, don't dismiss anything. I'm so sorry. I have not chosen a good day to do this. The lighting is so weird. You didn't really come here for a show, did you? So I mentioned letting go is a bit of a theme in terms of this cleanse and detox message, letting go of being a little bit controlling perhaps. Hello, fellow Scorpios. I know, and Capricorns. Aries as well can be a little bit stubborn. Anyway, with that delegating one, that's not necessarily just work related as well. I know you think delegate sounds a bit corporate or jobby, but it's not necessarily at all. And letting go of a desire to keep ourselves safe. And I know we try to keep ourselves safe for a very good reason. Who doesn't want to be safe, you know? But sometimes, as I say, we do need to push ourselves so we're not staying super comfortable all the time, because we don't grow from that place. I suppose also that freedom message would be kind of related to that letting go theme. So that's really where it's at. They're sort of asking us to take an inventory, to do some self-reflection, take an inventory of where are we stuck and where have we maybe contributed to that by trying to hold on too tightly, not trusting the universe, maybe keeping ourselves stuck, which can be very convenient. Yeah, sometimes with that freedom one, I used to get a card from the relationship deck that's basically this message when I was single for a long time, and it infuriated me because I was saying, this is not my choice. I want to be in a relationship. I don't want to be single. I'm not keeping myself in this situation. I'm putting myself out there. But it took me a long time to understand that what the card was saying is that I was really keeping myself stuck in terms of the way I was viewing a situation of poor me, that kind of, I was really like feeling like a victim of, and you know, nobody wants to be with me. That sort of story was really kind of playing out in my head, and I was starting to embody that, which meant I was not going to attract any people. So that's kind of how it was going on there. There are a lot of ways that can show up for people. It's not always about the pity party. It can be about, as I say, that attachment to suffering. Sometimes people want to be like the ones who are always struggling. There are, yeah, I don't want to go into it here. There are a lot of reasons going on underneath that. And sometimes it's role modelling from our parents can be a factor as well. Anyway, not that we want to blame the parents either. Everybody's doing their best. And that's a very good reason not to go blaming yourself too much either. It's not about blame in terms of a shame kind of way. It's more like just owning where you've played a role, and how, because then you can turn it around. If you're blaming other people or circumstances or the man drought or whatever, you're keeping yourself stuck. You're giving away your power. So that is it for the week. Thank you very much for watching. As always, each card will go up on my Instagram every day and my Facebook, and hopefully I will explain each message in a much better way than I have right now. But I always go into these videos, as you guys know, accepting that I'm not a great orator, but I know that often when I go off on these tangents, there's someone who needs to hear what I've said in that moment. So thank you very much, and as always, you can contact me for a personal reading on www.onegroundedangel.com, and just head to the bookings. And I've also got tabs on my energy healing and on my angel card readings, so you can get tons of information there to really help you figure out if it's right for you. And I can send you that as well if you'd like. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back next week, hopefully without the thunder and lightning. Take care.